这样没办法，显卡撑不住。这样子应该有机会，试试看。OK， 好像机会没有吗？你们看看吧，如果还是卡的话，跟我讲一下。应该还是卡。
Hey, you're alive. When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, a phone, maybe. I hope you don't mind.
好多了。
But all I found was some loose change. So, wanna tell me who you are?
好一些，好一些而已哦，好一些。那我们这样子，这样子看看好不好？那你们要叫什么名字？我们叫做
Well, it's nice to meet you. And I'm sorry to pry, but any idea why you were floating down the river?
柚子。
What's the last thing you remember?
这个我很好奇，我在犹豫一跟，我应该不会选2啊。你们觉得哪个好？是考古学家，可以偶尔多年研究历史，使我可以偶尔洞察古代世界，还是说拥有制式武器，但只有10发子弹，不能补充？这个我觉得超不好的。我就选3，打不赢就老看。你躲避追捕进入角，提高25%，它并没有提高那个。然后健忘症是抗性加50，你们会选哪个？因为我也没有看过这个，给点意见，你们想要选哪个？因为这款我在想啊，它应该是跟古代有关，应该是会解到一些谜。没有，我不会选2啊，我一定不会选2。1、3、4选，打不赢就跑，所以3跟4一票。你们不会选这个吗？他绝对有用意，他才会考古学家有解谜对吗？所以考古学家应该会知道某些那个提示，我在猜。抗性加50，1跟3吧。抗性加50，那应该就是1了。那我们选1哦。
Oh, you're an archaeologist? Then you'll definitely want to hear this. I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but there are some ruins
你
just
身后有
behind
一
you.
片
Roman,
罗马的
I
废
think.
墟，
I need you to go in there and see if you can find a guy named Al for me.
也不是不
He
行
went
的，
in
但
there a
是
few hours ago, and he hasn't come out. I've been freaking out, wondering if he's trapped or injured or worse. I would have gone in after him,
他讲话是不是
but
偏
he
小
made
声
me？ promise to stay here, no matter what. There's no way I'm leaving without him, so I'm just kind of stuck here, waiting. What I mean is, I was hoping you wouldn't mind going in there to find him. If you can do that, I can get both of you back to civilization in my boat. Please? Oh, of course. Sorry, I don't mean to be pushy. What do you want to know? He's the guy who washed up on the riverbank not long before you did. I thought maybe you two knew each other. I guess not. But maybe the two of you can piece together what you're doing here. In any case, you'll like him, I'm sure. Once you find him, that is. You really don't remember? We're in Italy. This river is the Tiber.
Tiber.
Oh, there's not much to tell. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Know what I mean? Oh, I'd rather not say if it's all the same to you. All right, fine. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
凯伦有什么梗啊？我倒不知道。
Look, if you really want to know all the tragic details, perhaps I can fill you in after you find Al? Not much, really. But imagine what you might find in there. Priceless ancient artifacts. Al... What am I, an idiot? You could hike a long, long way in any direction and never find another soul. Trust me. Great. So you're ready to go look for Al?
好的，那我进去了。你讲话为什么？
My hero. The entrance is just past those columns behind you. Oh, and he left this
那个人怪怪
but I
的，
think you'll need it
他
more than
他
I will.
不想告诉我们的他的名字，然后一开始就问我们的名字。哎呦，那你就在这边烤火。呀。 灵敏度调低一点。现在是太快了。
Back already? What's up? Oh. What? Great. Was there some? Thanks again.
你们现在看会卡吗？我应该是偶尔卡一下，感觉不会。 这样子的话，刚刚有那个谁，骑士薯饼代米说1、2、3、4都玩一遍。我要说的是，如果是这样的状况的话，其实我会，不是，我会等，至少换张显卡再说吧，不然这样子的图像品质跟游戏有点那个。 有点差。什么线索？这游戏应该不会吓人吧？对啊，我应该会等那个啦，不然这样子，你们刚刚看那个头发。 那个画质真的是太精彩了。 光开这样子，我显卡已经吃到98%了。这个背包装满旧登山服和空的食物包装。
If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence is long forgotten, all knowledge of it lost, except...
我还没检查。哎呦！ 显卡无所畏惧，你们看会卡。
It reads, "You who wish to enter the city, step forth and be judged. The virtuous shall be rewarded with eternal life in paradise. The wicked shall find themselves showered in gold, but in vain, for this shall be their final resting place." Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this time? Could people have survived down there? Against the odds.
完了，我看我们是
There's only one way to find out. If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this an invitation or a warning. Al Worth. 那这个不知道会不会有探索要素呢？怕爆了，这个自动门要开不开的？我在猜呀，该不会这些人都是探索之后会变成这些雕像吧？按你 F5快速跑出去。OK， 既然是一个需要快速存档的游戏，大家已经懂了吗？我懂了。 它可以检查可是只有这个可以检查，所以刚才其实这个可以检查了。他在逃离什么？他在乞讨。 他们逃的是不同方向你为什么在这里？我真的没有很喜欢那个俄语啊，有个恶心的。F。 就不拿手电筒了，因为我觉得这种游戏就是拿了手电筒之后更可怕了。他们都好像在看什么东西。也太正了吧！哦。
完了，完了，阿尔已经死掉了。
To whoever reads this, I'm sorry you had to find me like this. And worse, you'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place, going around and around in circles, searching for a way out. The inscription was right. There is no way back. And here there are only two options: death, or that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right. And I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, it took me right
不论你
back to
做
the
什
beginning.
么，它都将你带回原点。怎么跟另外一个游戏的主线还蛮像的？
Find out what awaits you beyond that portal.
我觉得我刚刚那个如果选不要续的话，说不定有个成就，然后说不定游戏就会结束在那里。Can you hear me? 对，这个比较方便。我们先存档。哎，看来我们会一直轮回死亡呢。哎呦，这个就是我们进去的那个地方啊，我们掉下去那里啊。哦。点击任务旁边的眼睛吊饰可以干嘛？没看到。勿忘我。等等。哦。找到返回原始时间线的方法。
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina?
我是 W， 我迷路了。我是 W。啊，怎么会？很像你说说。我们不要撒谎好了。
Yeah, you know, agricultural goddess of springtime. You're not from around here, are you? Oh, I see what you did there. Changing the subject like that. Nice try. But I'll ask again. Who are you? And what were you doing in the shrine?
我们要撒谎吗？讲这个一般人不会讲这个吧？怎么可能有人跟别人讲说我从未来来的？是要被当疯子
？What? I'm speaking Latin. You are too, although your accent's a little strange. And you've just done it again. You're a sly one, aren't you? One more time. Who are you and what were you doing in that shrine?
我感觉撒谎在任何一个游戏都没有什么好处。
No idea what you're talking about. Oh, wait. Are you a bit, you know,
你看
right in the head?
我就跟你们
That's
讲
all right, friend. Everyone's welcome here. We sort of lose track of the date down here, but it feels like the beginning of spring to me, so I'd say early March? It's 817 AUC.
AUC 817年。
Sorry, you look confused. 817 years since the founding of Rome. Which part of the empire are you from exactly?
哦，你看，这里会有个选项。
CE? No idea what you're talking about. But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost,
哎呦，
and in more ways
真
than
的是
one.
光头导游呢。
So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our
说实
law
话，这
here,
个画
and
质
we'll
差
all
到
get
看起来
along
有点
just
晕啊。
fine. Not laws, law. There's just one, the golden rule, and the punishment for breaking it's, well, it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming? Follow me. When I first
Follow
arrived,
me.
I couldn't believe there were people living down here. But, as you can see, we've got a nice little community now.
没想到插
Only
画质
23 of us
是
at the moment.
看
if
起来
you
都
count the 3 who are
糊糊的，
missing.
所以
No idea how, since
很不舒服
nobody
吧。
knows a way out. But it's just big and dark enough to get lost in, if you're not careful.
Aren't you going to introduce me to your handsome new friend, Galerius?
Keep it in your loincloth, Aurelia. I'm taking him to see the magistrate.
That pompous old bore won't be magistrate for much longer. Anyone who helps vote him out today drinks at my bar for free tonight.
Politics. I'd stay clear of it, and her, if I were you. She's... it's not my place to say. Down on your right is our farm, where I grow all the food you'll ever want. As long as all you want is leek, cabbage, and wheat. Huh. That one usually gets a chuckle.
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since... Well, you know, I don't know what happened to her. Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo. Most of us have almost nothing, just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and scrounge up since. And this central plateau is where the magistrate and the other patricians live, so don't expect a warm welcome.
Galerius, you're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You'd better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
What was that? What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy.
我够凶的耶。
Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me, please. I expect the magistrate wants to brief you about the Golden Rule. It shouldn't take too long. He's busy preparing for the election later today. Follow me.
等一下，我想要哎呦，按错了。
The only thing you really need to understand right now is the Golden Rule. Let me see if I can explain it this way. When I was serving in the Legion, if there was a mutiny brewing in one cohort, the legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10, made us draw straws, and whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9. Didn't matter whether he'd done anything wrong. One of us in 10 would die for the crimes of the collective. We call it decimation. If that seems like rough justice to you, you're in for a rude shock. Because the Golden Rule is exactly 10 times worse. The magistrate can explain the rest. He's up these stairs. What now? I'm a legionary of the 1st Italica, but there's not a lot of fighting down here. So the magistrate has assigned me other duties. I act as the magistrate's right-hand man, keeping an eye on his daughters. Daughter, I should say. And the others, and making sure they're all behaving. I also keep a register of new arrivals. I'm from Liguria, up north originally. I was doing alright for myself. 12 years into my service. Had a nice girl lined up for when it was all over. Not anymore. She's probably figured I'm long gone and moved on by now.
就是回不
Try
去
not to
了。
think about it. My commander sent me to deliver a message to Rome. While I was there, I thought I'd do something nice for my girl. And pick up a little pendant from a silversmith. That's when the crowd started flooding through the streets, shouting fire. People were screaming, trampling each other. Then some Genetricum fugitive tried to take advantage of the chaos and pinch my pendant. I remember chasing him through the crowds, down towards the river. And then, nothing. Blacked out and woke up near here. No idea how I ended up floating so far downriver. But I'm fortunate to be alive, I suppose. Ah, don't be. As Seneca the Younger said, difficulty strengthens the mind, as labor does the body. That said, Centilla's disappearance has been more difficult than I'd care to admit. He's one of the better commanders I've ever had, that's for sure. Good stoic. Lives by Seneca's words.
吃多隔
Treat
饭。
your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Can't ask for much more than that. I went around asking the same questions when I first arrived. Never did find a way out. But I learned how to accept my situation. To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. That's from Seneca the Younger, if you're interested. I don't see why not. Just make sure I get it back by tomorrow.
Olivia 平民酒馆老板，声称知道出路呗。克劳迪亚，外乡人。啊！
Of course. Well, as I always say, it's kind of like a divine version of the practice of decimation in the Legion. By threatening to execute 1 in 10 men, the idea is to ensure order and discipline among everyone. And it works. If you knew you could be executed because your brother-in-arms is planning a mutiny, well, you'd bloody well watch him like 100-eyed Argus, wouldn't you? Because your only chance of saving yourself is to stop bad things before they happen. Makes us all responsible for keeping each other in check. It's brutal, of course, but effective. The Legion wouldn't be the most formidable force in the world without it. What's done is done. I was forced to execute my brothers-in-arms, and those memories will always visit me in my sleep. But life is harsh, and I've come to accept my lot. As with the Golden Rule, I don't have any control over it, so railing against it would be like trying to stop the seasons or the tides. As Seneca the Younger wrote, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient. For he that is so wants nothing. A war crime? Isn't that a contradiction in terms? As Cicero said, in times of war the law falls silent. Your sort wouldn't last a week in the Legion. If you like. Not that it's any of your business. But my loyalty is and always will be with Sentius. Unfortunately, I don't think my vote is going to make any difference today. See, Domitius has been going around town, shoring up votes for Malleolus with lies, bribery and intimidation. The man's a savage. But he's a gladiator, so people fear and respect him more than they should. Sentius knows about it, of course, but he doesn't have the same rat cunning as Malleolus. This place will be different with that sleaze at the helm. But I try not to worry about things I can't change. I appreciate the thought, but you're new here, and I just can't see how you could make an impact in the time between now and the election this afternoon. In any case, if you're interested in the election, go and have a chat with Equitia, the Vestal Priestess. She'll be overseeing proceedings. All right?
Whatever are you wearing? Oh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want?
这头发超级分离。
I'm Sentia, eldest daughter of the magistrate. But you'd know that if you'd been invited in here and introduced properly. What are you doing in here? And why are you dressed like that? Really? I'd never have noticed, what with your flawless accent, appropriate attire, and impressive mastery of our customs.
超级像
Now,
素头
remind
发。
me, why are we having this conversation? Ugh, what is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and figure I must know a way out too. Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what happened to Scintilla. I wish you mouth breathers would just leave me alone. I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have disappeared from a city with no exits and no crime? Was she snatched away by the Harpies? Why? Because I'm on this couch and not pacing about the villa, wasting energy? I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance. Ugh, you're awful. Get out of my villa and never speak to me again.
他生气了，
Do I need to ask Horatius?
生气了，生气了，生气了，恼羞，恼羞。少一直有一个人在跟我讲话呢。他的头发。
We're finally alone.
哎呦，这
I
个
assume you
哇
already know who I am. May I know your name?
我是达里，
A curious name to match a curious accent. But I digress. I see you have the piercing and astute eyes of a man of great learning. We're always happy to welcome another scholar to our little community. Equitia will be delighted to meet you, I'm sure. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains many hundreds of years ago. Indeed. More importantly, consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing. Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin? Nor could I until I came here. But the reason for this miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined, turning us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule.
所以我们一开始进来那里才会那么多雕像。
As we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions. Please, ask away.
不是听起来像一个特务用一个代号 A 签的兵，感觉他是他也没有办法，你知道吗？因为他也是信奉神法啦，对吧？所以也不是他定这个规则。
An intelligent question. There was a good deal of debate about that in our first weeks here. Does it refer to crimes or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about lying, insulting someone, blasphemy, trespass, trying to escape, bribery, infidelity, suicide? As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen. And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries. Barbaric? Barbaric? What are you talking about? The Empire is the most civilizing force in the known world. Rome is a beacon of light in the darkness. For 800 years she has borne great statesmen, philosophers, poets, artists, and engineers. We have comprehensive laws protecting the rights of our citizens, which have unified countless warring tribes all across the Mediterranean and beyond, from Gallia to Judea. All our citizens are treated the same, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. Can you say the same? When our people are starving, they are given food rations, and when they are wronged, they have the right to bring the guilty party before the magistrate. Our laws forbid treason, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so on. No other civilization in the world is so advanced, and you have the hubris to call us barbaric? Are you talking about our practice of decimation? Of course. We could hardly unite all these warring tribes without a disciplined, formidable legion. Of course. What else would we do with those prisoners of war who would otherwise have been executed? And besides, there are laws for their protection as well. On occasion, but our gladiators are almost all volunteers seeking glory, or condemned prisoners who would have been executed anyway.
I do not see the harm. Of course, but with fewer rights come fewer responsibilities, and the right to be protected by their fathers.
哇，这句话好那个哦，权利越少，责任就越少，而且女人拥有被父亲和丈夫保护的权利，这样子去解释男尊女卑，我的天哪！
You mean the blasphemous cult responsible for burning down half of Rome last year? It's hard to blame the people for being angry about that. Well, right now, you're a long, long way from home. I have made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies in the shadows. I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you. You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew that person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you? 2,000 years? That is unfathomable. Please, tell me, in your time, what did you see? What had become of us? Of this city?
哎呀，可是，哎，我就跟他们讲，他们都变成黄金雕像了，要么就是他们从这一刻开始会开始猜疑啊。难道有办法改变？不是就说没办法改变未来了？我们要不要装傻？你们觉得呢？我们也好像没有看到这个人。你们都变成黄金雕像，说实话也没差哦，好吧。
I have imagined it, our downfall, 1,000 times, but it still breaks my heart to hear the truth of it. All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions. I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual. I don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future? I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you? Well, thank you for your candor, I suppose. Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfectly normal. As for me, well, it pains me to say my attempts to impose order have not earned me many friends. I fear I may not even remain magistrate after today's election. The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot. Do you ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes. The less I prejudice the independence of your investigation, the better.
哎呀，告诉我你真实的想法吧。
Well, all right. There are those who wish to vote me out of office so that they can pursue their own misguided political agenda. Frankly, their selfishness and recklessness risk destabilizing the entire city. I would be looking very carefully at them if I were you. If I understand Proserpina's ritual correctly, that problem should take care of itself. Let me see if I can explain. If you manage to prevent the sin that breaks the Golden Rule, I won't need to bring you here. I won't create the portal, and you will never have been able to come here. Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be flung back to your own time, having changed the past for all of us. Make sense?
有提示这些问题以后还能问。
Ah, good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the Golden Rule?
又陷进去了。
No, I don't suppose you do. But I'm hoping that even if you're not burdened with a sense of self-sacrifice, you'll at least see the sense in self-preservation. Wonderful. Now, I need you to investigate the city, talk to everyone, help them if it'll win their trust. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is, and as soon as you have a name, come back and tell me immediately. Oh, and one last thing. If I were you, I'd start my investigation by visiting Lucretia at the Shrine of Apollo in the Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. Seems like something's not right.
但不得不说，这种就是在这个大观念下面，就是第一个，他们也没办法去违反，然后一直以来的观念造成说他们现在的想法就是怎么样。其实现在好像也是会有这种问题的人，但是没办法，就是他们都会认为说，毕竟他们可能已经长时间的在这种制度下面生活了，就是会认为这个是对的，毕竟他们也没办法去看到别的事情。对啊，就是很难的啦。我说以现这是当然是游戏嘛。哦，所以我们现在只要了解到，然后我们就可以告诉他谁是我们觉得怀疑的人。他是建议我们先去找谁？广场上的谁吗？这个，他叫我们先去看这个。那我也蛮想要知道这个的。
Keep an eye out for Scintilla, would you? What now? I'm a legionary of the First Italic. All right.
我以为它会有任务提示呢。阿典，哇，这个门是 这个门是做了个寂寞哎，哇哦，谢喽。
Ah, you've returned. Of course. What is it? Why then? It looks like... Ask them. Good. Sextus Sentius Imperiosus is my name, though magistrate is the proper way to address me. Before I wound up here, I was a decurion in the cavalry of Imperial... It's a cavalry officer. I had 30 men under my command. This was my uniform. As magistrate, I usually wear a toga, but today I may need to survive long enough to create the portal for you, so it seemed prudent. My men and I were at the Emporium in Rome as honor guard for a visiting dignitary arriving upriver by barge. Now the port is usually bustling, but just as our guests arrived, waves of people began running toward the river from streets and alleyways in every direction. They were trying to escape a terrible fire. Unfortunately, the crowd sent my horse into a panic, and I remember it losing its footing by the water's edge. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on a riverbank not far from here in the company of some stranger. I went looking for my horse and discovered that lonely temple. You can probably figure out the rest. I was elected 7 months ago, uncontested because of my command experience. Since then, there's been growing agitation for another election. They're supposed to be annual, but I agreed to hold it sooner, hoping it would placate my constituents. Unfortunately, it just seems to have emboldened certain elements instead. Very well. If I did, I'd have led these... I've had plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the golden rule, but human failings. The temptation to slide into degeneracy, greed, and hubris. I trust that answers your question. Thank you. I'll be waiting here for news.
因为怎么有个人在做伏地起身？该不会就是他吧
What were you two talking about? Don't play dumb. I saw you. Having a shady little chat with old man Sentius up on his balcony. What's he offering you? Money? Favours? What's your vote worth to him? What else would you be murmuring about on election day? Mark my words, Malleolus is going to be magistrate by the end of the day. And if I tell him you sided with that feeble old has-been, that you've been trying to undermine his hard-won victory, you'll have picked the wrong patron. Got it? Good, then stay out of it. Nobody likes Caput Murdae foreigners interfering in an election. Can't hurt. Her name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus, you go through me. Why? Because I am a gladiator. That's why. When Malleolus wins the election, yeah, this place will change. You won't even want to leave. You'll see. I think it's gone on long enough, and Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected. He's going to announce it in his victory speech. Just you wait and see. 'Cause if I tell you, and it gets out, it'll give old man Sentius a chance to interfere in our plans. And we can't have that. We've already lined up the votes he needs to win. Just stay out of our way, and we won't have a problem. Malleolus, of course. If old man Sentius can't even protect his own daughter, how can we trust him to protect us? Too bad. He's busy. Unless... No. You don't look like you could afford it. I'm glad you asked. See, he's a busy man, and this is an important day. He'll be inside practicing his victory speech for tonight. Left me strict instructions he doesn't want to be disturbed. So if you want to see him, I'll need something valuable in return. Just make it good. Whatever. Just remember.
Do I need to ask Horatius to escort?
他真的不跟我们讲话哎，好吧。哦。我们只要遇到一个黄金像，那个就是有人会跟我们讲话。
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're from. I suppose it's quite charming in its own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, "What is your story?" The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office, by which time you would already know how to address me. And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change. You know, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here? Karen, you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you?
That 到底是什么意思啊？
Why is that? The memes? What are the memes? As you wish, but... I wonder if... No. I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just that you've got me thinking. Have you spoken with any of the others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember, and see if you notice any patterns. I know. I just don't want to see what happened to
目前看起来的共同性就是都是在河里昏迷，然后过来啊。
Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community, darning clothes and cutting hair. She was always so chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them where they were from and how they wound up here. And then, about a month ago, she suddenly changed. She withdrew, stopped working and became despondent, started muttering to herself. Galerius and I visited her to see how we could help, but she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows, and told us we were ignorant of some pattern. Look, it could be unrelated. Perhaps she simply fell ill. Or, as Galerius suggested, the weight of the Golden Rule was too much for her. But there is a small chance that she learned something, saw a pattern nobody else saw, and that it broke her. I just don't want to see that happen to you. So be careful, will you? Thank you. Now, go and follow the thread of truth through this labyrinth, and come back to me if you discover any
至少3个共同点。
I don't, I'm afraid. It seems to me we're exiled here until the gods judge us, one way or another. I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We asked for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But here, it seems they require much more of us. I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is rather long. I suppose so. Jupiter and Mercury put a town to the test by disguising themselves as vagrants and asking for shelter there. Everyone turned them away and failed that test, except for an old couple named Baucis and Philemon, and so the gods gave them time to escape and granted them a wish, and then wiped that town off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves. A cynic philosopher might take that view, but it's not entirely invalid, I suppose. It must be completed by dusk, just the same as any other official business. It'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Malleolus, the challenger. Why do you ask? All of the male citizens who are willing and able to attend, unless they're running, of course. Well, you're not a citizen yet, so no, I'm afraid not. But if it's any consolation, there are other ways to influence the outcome of an election. By using whatever gifts the gods gave you. Nothing untoward, of course. I'm responsible for announcing it and making sure the procedures are followed. You can, assuming they're eligible and willing to accept the nomination. As I said, I'm planning to hold it before dusk, but I suppose I could hold it sooner, if there's a good reason. As you wish.
哦，
Certainly. And did
感
you
觉那
notice
个应该
anything?
是要找到的某些点就可以提早选举。
Oh, well, keep up, Livy. Come back to...
这雕像一直在跟我讲话呀。 不对啊，所以他们其实已经有这么多的黄金雕像了，那这是滑索。必须要找它的黑料，罗克利。一人作恶，众人受难。可是，所以他们这些人是被处死的人吗？
Give me a moment. Sorry I'm such a mess. I just lost a patient and a dear friend. Yulia. She was a good woman. She was poisoned. She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally I'd treat her with resin of silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Decius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says, "That'll be 1,000 denarii." There was no way I could afford that, and he knew it. Then that toad shrugs and says, "Supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly." Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall, but there's no way I can do that down here with the golden rule. So all I could do is come back here and just watch her die. I kept on apologizing. And now I'll never know who poisoned her, or how they managed to do it without breaking the golden rule, or why she cursed that snake's cruel black eyes with her dying breath. Well, unless you have the power to bring someone back from the dead, there's really just one thing you can do. Get me that silphium resin. I'm going to have another patient in here soon. Could be in the next day or in the next hour. And I will not allow this to happen again. I don't care how you get it, but you have to make it happen. Because if I lose another patient this way, I swear to the gods below, not even the golden rule will stop me from marching up to that genetricum foot to toe and scratching his eyes out. Then you'd better get me that silphium quickly, hadn't you? May Apollo keep you safe.
哎，尤利亚是不是就是那个啊？哦，不是。哦，有蒂利亚跟罗有。哎。等一下。 等等等等，我们刚刚是不是偷东西？对对啊，没关系啊，反正我们不是这里的公民嘛。没被人发现，或者是发现的人没有发现的，没有办法发现的，那就也不算。
Salve. Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Decius. Terrible shame what happened to Yulia, but we just have to carry on, don't we? Certainly. All I ask is a reasonable price of 1,000 denarii. Oh, it's perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply and demand, I'm afraid. Take it or leave it. Hear what? You sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps you should pay a visit to Lucretia's clinic. We don't want another Navia on our hands. She claimed the statues were whispering to her. Nobody else could hear it. Then she shut herself in the palace and we never heard from her again. But I digress. Do you want this silphium or not? Well, if you did that, you'd break the golden rule, and we'd share the same fate as the last lot who lived here. Is that what you want? Do you think I don't know a bluff when I see one? Nice try. Very well. Perhaps I can interest you in something within your budget? You mean, how did I end up here? That is a lengthy tale. All right. Well, you see, I'm in the business of procuring rare and precious objects liberated from the enemies of Rome. Mostly sculptures. Had myself a nice little shop in Rome, just off the Forum. Lots of foot traffic and close to the docks. Good place to be when the fires broke out. See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, open to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing through a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done. Of course I chose the cart. I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money.
Okay.
So I put my hand on the cart, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the Tiber. No, I dived in after it, of course. Aren't you paying attention? That was a bloody fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my head or something, because everything went black. When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank, not far from here, with nothing in the world but a single silver coin. I couldn't agree more. I mean, sure, I'd lost a few thousand denarii, but I've already made it back, and this place is a veritable treasure trove. Look around you. There must be more gold in here than in the treasury of Rome. If I can just figure out how to get it out of here. I'm afraid not. If you're desperate, I did hear that Aurelia down at the tavern claims to know of a way out, but I'm not sure I trust her. Some people here are a little shady for my liking. It's terrible for inflation is what it is. There's so much gold just lying around, it's practically worthless. At least down here. Of course, I have an idea for generating real wealth, but what I need is a bow. Just a simple composite bow. I've scoured this city from top to bottom with no luck. But if you happen to find one, bring it to me and we'll talk. Oh, well, technically yes, but that just means you'll need to be a little discreet. Thank you, friend. Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he... Not. Very well.
所以他们都是在怀疑他要偷走他，那他在哪里啊？我要怎么偷？他们以他为眼的东西。
Wonder how much one of these statues is worth on the outside.
哦，这里可以偷啊，红色的偷了。
Greetings and salutations.
还是我们可以。我们要不要玩玩看？我们快速存档，然后真的不行，我们再快速读回来，这样子看会发生什么事。哎呦，不然往前碰到那个。
A man arrived in the baths, a real nasty sort, with his face all covered up, and he's got a weapon. You have to do something, or he's going to break the golden rule. Are you daft or just callous? If you don't stop him, we're all going to die. Thank you. I have... What? Ugh. The shrine is...
Huh? What the? 太突然了吧！我也不过只是想要去偷东西而已。行，我们先不要往前走。它会动啊！它会动啊！那我们
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Dacius, I'm
他有
not
朋友啊
making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
我是这样子哦。哦，所以是神看的，所以是有神像的关系。所以他是因为这样死的吗？哦，还是我们不应该跟着他？可是刚刚看起来，那种办法应该是没办法躲。对，应该是又回来了，又回到一开始了。那这样子，我们是不是就不会遇到那个了？哦。那个还活着吗？我们有带东西耶。
Salva. Oh, Bacchus, how much did I drink last night? Oh, and. Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang onto the handles.
Oh,
if it works, it'll be faster than walking. But don't worry, it's all right.
那我们是不是要回去确认那个是不是活着的？就是那个生地巫师啊，伊蒂晚安。我们是不是要确定他会不会活着？我们去看一下。因为生地巫师如果会活着的话，
Sisyphus, attack or pursue the stone.
那是好像可以这样搞哦。可是生地巫师如果死了的话，就表示我们不能这样玩。
Fear is proof of a degenerate mind. 哦，活着哎！
We're finally alone. I assume we have? Wait, if I understand, I must have is that about... You broke it. Well, it seems you look, it's unfortunate, but all that now I...
哦，所以可以这样子弄哦。哦。但是要我，可是我们刚刚触发的条件是他要有办法帮我们念咒语，所以并不是跑回那个门就会成功。
On your best behavior, I trust. What is it, citizen? I'm a legionary of the I act as the magistrate's right-hand man. I'm from Liguria, up north originally. Not anymore. My commander sent me to deliver a message. That's when the crowd started flooding through. Then some Genetricum fugitor tried to take advantage of the blacked out and woke up near here. All right?
Okay. 哦。所以这是靠一个不断循环，然后完成所有任务的。
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this? What? Quick, give it here. Yulia, you need to swallow this. Here, let me help you. Hopefully, in a moment, she should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing and at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle? Look, if you don't want to tell me, I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. But no matter. That was like the gods hearing my prayers and intervening. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need. I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been filling in ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time. But I'd rather take this on myself than let one of you lot mess it up. My husband and I moved to Rome from Caesarea. He embraced the Roman way more than I would have liked and turned into an awful philanderer. I would have divorced him and demanded the return of my dowry, but I knew he would sooner have me killed than give me my right. So I waited for the right time to take what was mine and disappear. And then the fires came. As he prepared to evacuate our villa, I gathered our most precious belongings, coins and gemstones, and the moment his back was turned, I ran. I could barely see for the smoke. And the streets were full of people trampling each other. I ran for the river, like everyone else, and leapt in. The next thing I remember, I was waking up on a riverbank, not far from here. It's all right. Say what you will about this place. At least my fornicating husband will never find me. And while there's no shortage of snakes here, at least with the golden rule, they have to try to be discreet about it. Oh, this shrine was in use as a clinic long before any of us arrived here. Kind of strange to set up a clinic in the temple of the god of disease. But the god who inflicts a curse is also the only god who can undo it. So I suppose praying to Apollo for healing kind of makes sense. Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good too, until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This changes everything, she kept saying. But I had no idea what she was talking about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them. And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. His joints are inflamed and he's in constant pain. I really shouldn't say. He wouldn't like it. And he's a little bit scary. He's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off, and I worry he'll end up losing his temper and lashing out, and you know what that means. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. But nobody seems to know how to get into the palace. Thanks, I suppose. I wish. Some people here need proper medical care, not the half-baked, hanging by a thread excuse for treatment I'm giving them. Just don't get sick or injured here. I'll do my best to treat you, but I'm out of my depth and dangerously short on everything you can imagine. A city without sin might sound good on paper, but whoever dreamt it up didn't think it through. Maybe it was an attempt to create some kind of utopia. But snakes like Decius will always find loopholes to exploit. And what can we do about it? Absolutely nothing. In some ways, we are worse off because we can't take the law into our own hands. Oh no. Sorry, I don't mean to worry you, but no, that is definitely not normal. There was one other person who claimed she could hear the statues talking to her. But that was Nevia, and she went a little mad. Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down until she suddenly this changes the last, and then she's been, but I read one of my, he's become so irritable that I just, thanks, I suppose. Sure, what do you want to know? Do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody poisoned her. Gladly. That's a shame.
好，下次我们再跟尤利亚讲话。哎呦！玩家身份 W